The MaxxAir fan. I love the MaxxAir fan. Of all the fan offerings that I'm familiar with to put in an RV, I prefer the MaxxAir fan. I really like them. They're quiet, they're balanced, they're easy to install. You can run them with the cover down, run them with the cover up. You can drive with the cover up. You can run it with the cover up in the rain. I like these fans. They even come with a remote and a motorized lid. I don't go for any of that stuff. I keep it simple, fewer things to break. I put in the manual versions of the MaxxAir fan in all my builds. So you have to open the lid manually by turning the knurled knob. This is not a big deal. This doesn't hurt. If you can't do this, maybe you shouldn't be RVing. Just saying. But I love these fans. I also hate these fans. And the reason I hate them is because the motherboard craps out at a certain voltage. I think it's 13.5, 13.2. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. There are many, many times in a 12-volt automobile system where you're 14 volts coming through your system. These fans crap out in the 13s. It's just ridiculous. As far as I know, the newer iterations of the MaxxAir fan have taken care of that. They've got a different motherboard in there, and supposedly you won't have that issue anymore. But I do not like the fact I've had two of my clients have to replace the motherboard because they crapped out. Melissa from Minnesota, who just drove her Mini-Me back to Minnesota, as soon as she got there, the fan crapped out. Now, sometimes you can get the fan to work again by breaking the power, disconnect the power, reconnect the power 5 minutes later. Eventually, the board is done. It's fried, and you got to get it replaced. Airxcel is sending out motherboards as quickly as they can make them, but I think the demand is greater than what they can supply, because when Melissa from Minnesota called in and said her motherboard crapped out, they sent her a whole new fan. So what she did is she took the motherboard from the new fan and swapped it with the bad motherboard that was in the Mini-Me fan, rather than swapping fans. That would be crazy. So we had to do some testing. Enough was enough. Melissa from Minnesota was the last straw, and I decided that now I've got to regulate the voltage going to my MaxxAir fans. I put generally 2 fans in each van. So I'm going to take you over to the Humble Road Research and Development Laboratory, where you can see the testing we did and the conclusions that we arrived at. Welcome to the Humble Road Research and Development Laboratory. And how?
Are you sure?
We're the boys that called you up. Maybe we ain't us. Maybe we ain't us.
Here we have a MaxxAir fan. It's running at full speed. We have a desktop power source, and we're pushing amps and volts into this fan from this power source through these voltage converters. Okay, this little guy is the one we're running now. This is a voltage converter, voltage regulator, buck converter, whatever you want to call it. Let me lower this fan speed. We've got this up at maximum. Okay, that's better. These fans really are quiet. At the lowest setting, you don't even know it's on. Okay, desktop power source. These are our voltage regulators. Here's our meter to tell us what we're actually putting into the fan. The fan is running. You can see here we are pushing 15 volts towards the fan, but that 15 volts hits the regulator first. The regulator is only allowing 12.12 volts to get to the fan. That's what this does. Its only job is to make sure whatever it's receiving, it only puts out 12 volts. That's what this fan needs. Anything more than 13 and the motherboard goes crazy. So we've got 3 different types of voltage regulators here that we've tested. We did not test this one because it just looks too scary, okay? I don't want this thing in my van. It's got a massive heat sink. It's got a fan on the bottom. Look at this thing. It looks like Frankenstein. No good. So we tested these. Now this big guy, as you can see, the entire case is a heat sink, okay, to keep it cool. Now we ran each of these regulators for 8 hours at varying fan speeds and varying voltages. No problem with the fan, no problem with the motherboard. These didn't even get warm, not even remotely warm. This one I would install at the source, at the power source. So if you have a bus bar situation and you're headed to this fan, I would connect this at that point. That's during the build. If your fan's already installed, you can't get to where the origination point is, use this smaller one because you can connect this one to your fan wires and tuck it inside the fan housing. There's room in there for this thing to sit in there. Either way, it's a very easy install, an easy fix, peace of mind. I've been told that AirXcel has fixed this problem and the newer fans that are shipping have a new board that can accept the higher voltages. That's great, that's fine. The horse has already left the barn. I'm putting these in all of my builds, one for each fan. I wire home runs to my fan, direct line. So it's very easy to put one of these in line at either end of that wire. You can see we're still at 12.12 volts. If I ramp up the voltage, still 12.12. Go the other way, same thing. So no matter what we throw at this fan, the little regulator takes care of it. No more problems. So now the next thing that we got to do, the next step in this fix, conformal spray, silicone spray. Here's the problem. The motherboard, if it gets wet, condensation inside the fan housing, however this board gets any condensation on it, it craps out, gets wet. This stuff, if you spray it on the board, it coats it, it waterproofs it. It doesn't hurt the circuitry, it doesn't make any connections like water would, you know. Just spray it, it seals it, you're good to go. So these are the 2 steps that we have to now do with every MaxxAir fan as we install them in our vans, because I don't want my clients having to switch out these boards if we can help it.
Oh, I can't stand it anymore. I've got to go.
But, Mr. Barker, we have a lot of time left on the air. We've got to fill it up.
Why don't you put on that marvelous submarine band of yours?
All right, put him on.
Come on, boys, we want to use you.
Here he comes.
Get your things up. We now present
the International Silver String Submarine Band.